always out and about. Almost always out and about. Today we are in and not about, and I'm so excited to have this lady in our studio. Her name is Jill Hicks. She is an author, and she has actually several books out, but the one we're going to talk about, at least to start, is called Bay Avenue, The Inheritance, and it is called, the back cover says, Bay Avenue, The Inheritance is a story of three brothers and their connection to a beach house in the quaint shore town of Lewis, Delaware. And I'm going to stop right there because welcome to the show, Jill. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm great. Thanks.
I'm excited. First off, I was not able to read the book completely. I couldn't pry it from Randy's hands. Randy turned me on to Jill, and it was interesting. It was I would say magical, spellbinding, and a lot of other cool. There's lots of twists in it. Mm-hmm. It's a really neat story. Tell us a little bit about it and how you decided to write something about Lewis.
Well, I love Lewis, and I guess well, to start off, just a little bit of background. I hated reading all my life. In fact, I'm not even sure how I graduated high school or college. I'm embarrassed to say. Yes.
I'll be darned.
I remember completely reading maybe two books during high school. One was The Scarlet Letter. That grabbed
you
my
had
attention.
To do that one.
Yeah, I had to finish that one. And the other was Cannery Row. Outside of that, I mean, I wouldn't even get through the Cliff Notes. So I just kind of...
You didn't even read Cliff Notes?
No. So I just managed my way through somehow, I guess, just faking it through the essay exams and listening to my friends talk about the books and, gathering what I could from them. Mm-hmm. And my husband always said, you should read. And in fact, I was jealous of books because when we first got married, he would disappear and I was like, where is he? And he'd be locked in the bathroom, your favorite reading place.
Yeah, reading place, sure.
Reading.
Absolutely.
And so for many years, I was, single and alone while Bill was out reading books. And he's a very fast reader. He can read a novel in a day.
My dad was like that. He could sit down with a book like this and go through it after dinner.
Yep.
And his retention was absolutely amazing. I'm sure Bill's is as well.
Yes, the same thing. He has one of those memories where he'll remember everything on a page. But I was just the exact opposite, and it was kind of intimidating to read, especially the same book. If I tried to read the same book he was reading today, mm-hmm. It's intimidating to me, and I know he's going to finish it before I do, and so if I start a book and I know he's going to read it, I'll say, just wait till I'm done.
Yeah, you don't want to hear any of it.
And then read it. So, but all that being said, he finally convinced me to start reading fiction one summer. We were on the beach down here at Cape Henlopen, and I think the first fiction novel that I read was Nicholas Sparks, The Notebook, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And so I started reading 20 books a summer. I couldn't stop myself, and finally, after a couple of summers, I ran out of books that I really enjoyed reading, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just write my own. And it just
happened. That's a big jump.
Yeah, it just happened.
Yeah.
It just happened. And I love Lewis. We spent all of our married summers, a couple weeks down here. His family owns a beach house. Mm-hmm. I should say it's two small cottages on a property. And I just loved walking up and down or riding my bike up and down Bay Avenue and just looking at these old beach cottages and wondering who lived there and what the story was. And I guess that was my inspiration, and
wow,
took off from there.
That's one of the more interesting stories I've heard about how you got inspired. But the fact that you hated reading and now you're a published author, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
a little weird, but pretty cool.
Weird but cool. It's just and it's just one of those things when it happens, you can't. It's like I can't not write this. Because it's such a gift.
You were inspired.
I was inspired, and I had to do it.
And it's kind of cool that you reached down and found something inside you that allowed you to do this. This is a very well-written book, by the way.
Thank you.
Well edited and well put together. The story just goes from A to B to C to D to E. Has a couple of twists around E, and then goes keeps on going. So the basic book is Bay Avenue, The Inheritance. Started out's title is Willpower. Now, maybe you can give us a kind of a mini synopsis of the book, or at least the storyline, and tell us how it started with Willpower and became Bay Avenue.
Okay. Well, the story is set on Lewis Beach, an old house on Lewis Beach, and without giving the total story away, this father passes away, and it has to do with an inheritance of this old beach house.
Yeah.
And so the title
was family discussions about who gets the beach house.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's Willpower, the power of the last will and testament of David Carter.
Okay, I got it.
And it did very well under that title. But what I found out is people who were browsing bookstores would see that in bold letters and think it was a self-help book.
Okay.
And so down the road, I took the bold move of changing the title to Bay Avenue.
I bet that took a lot of courage, because if you were successful with Willpower, then you go, oh man, am I doing something right here?
Right.
Did your husband advise you, or did you just say, this could sell more books if it had a better title?
He actually advised me through the entire process of writing, from the first page all the way up through the changing of the title, and also he's my best marketer, actually. He just really enjoyed it.
Probably your biggest fan too, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there you go.
He's been my biggest supporter, encourager. But it was difficult to change the title because I had a lot of wonderful reviews under the title of Willpower, and when you do that, you lose all those reviews, especially as an independent author.
Sure. It's like changing your Facebook page. Everything's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see why you put formally titled Willpower.
Yeah.
We're going to cross-reference it here right on the cover of the book.
Yeah. Well, I was also afraid that people who bought Willpower would see this new title and then maybe make
it was the
Kindle
second in the series or something. Yeah.
I didn't want that to happen either. So
now this is not your first book, is it?
That's Bay Avenue. The Inheritance is my very first book.
It is your first book, but you have you've written other things.
I've written a total of 5, and I'm working on my 6th.
Wow. We need to talk about that right after this commercial break. 92.7 WGMD. It's Out and About Wednesday.
Live from the Lewis Meineke Car Care Center studio. It's the 5 times over caffeinated radio show with Bob Steele on WGMD. On your radio tuner at 92.7. The call letters are WGMD. Streaming worldwide at WGMD.com. On your smartphone or tablet via the TuneIn radio app. The talk of Delmarva. 92.7 WGMD.
92.7 WGMD. I'm Bob Steele. It's the 5 times over caffeinated radio show. Normally, we would be doing Out and About Wednesday on Wednesdays. We're not doing that today. It's In and Not About Wednesday. But we still have some incredible guests, one of which is in our studios right now. Jill Hicks, author of an incredible book. Actually, she's got 5. Was it 5 that you said you had?
Yes,
5 books. The first of which, Bay Avenue, The Inheritance, formerly Willpower, we're talking about. But since we've gotten to those 5 books, let's talk about the other ones.
Okay, so Bay Avenue was my first book, and it was meant to be a standalone. So you would read it, finish it, and however, my readers wanted to know more about this family and their circle of friends. So I continued with, at that time it was Willpower 2, The Courtship, and then Willpower 3, Practically Speaking, which is now Bay Avenue 2 and Bay Avenue 3.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a 3 series,
a
3
trilogy.
book series. Trilogy.
Yeah.
Yes. So that leaves 2 more.
Okay, so the second one, The Long Climb Back, happened by accident, or I guess it was just an inspired book. My husband and I, my sister and brother-in-law, took a trip out west. Did a lot of the national parks.
Mm-hmm.
And while in Zion, for some reason, I decided to turn back when they were headed up to more of the Emerald Pools. And on the way back, this story just came. It just happened. So I rushed back to the lodge, and I sat there outdoors and just on my cell phone just quickly typed in notes this story. I could try to get down as much as I could.
Yeah, before you forget it.
Before I forgot, because my brain's like a sieve.
I have the same problem. That's why I carry a pad around everywhere. I've got one next to my bed. I've got one in my car. I've got 2 or 3 on the desk. You got to make those notes.
You have to do it, or leave yourself a message.
Oh yeah, there's another one.
Voice of a message.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that came out of that trip. Actually, that is probably my favorite story, The Long Climb Back. Then after those 4 books, I just published this past June, a book called Adrift. And it takes place in one of my other favorite locales, and that's the Outer Banks of North Carolina.
You know, it's interesting. A lot of people I know that love Lewis and Rehoboth Beach and South Bethany, that sort of thing, also love the Outer Banks. My family started vacationing in the Outer Banks, and then my father had an Army buddy that had a place in South Bethany, and we as a family fell in love with South Bethany, and we have a beach house in South Bethany now, and it's amazing. That's kind of wild. That's a
yeah
little connection here. You know, there you go. So that's cool. And what the Outer Banks story is largely about that area, or is there a little bit of intrigue, as in Bay Avenue?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of intrigue in that one as well. So it takes place in Avon, which is the southern part of the island, and it's very quiet and non-commercial. And this second grade teacher, who's also a devoted mother and wife, walks in on an unfortunate encounter, and she escapes everything that she's known all her life, her ordinary life, to the Outer Banks to contemplate what her options are and hopefully find some peace. And of course, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know that there's got to be a twist after that. Sure.
Yes.
Talking with a very, very cool lady. Jill Hicks is the author of a number of books, Bay Avenue, The Inheritance, and we were just talking about her latest book, which takes place in the Outer Banks, and lots of twists, lots of turns, lots of good reading, and I think you will be very happy if you go down to available at Browseabout?
Browseabout Books, Biblion Books in Lewis, and the Bethany Beach Bookstore, obviously in Bethany Beach.
In Bethany Beach. And can you get them online as well?
Yes, they're available through Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Excellent. Yeah. And a Facebook page or social media stuff?
Jill Hicks, author, Facebook page, yeah.
And it's Hicks spelled very easily, Hicks?
Yes.
So Jill Hicks, author, at facebook.com.
Yes.
And website?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Well, direct marketing is always a good thing.
Yes, absolutely. And this is wonderful too. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm so excited about this, and I'm gonna have to go down to Browseabout or one of the other bookstores and buy this now, because I did a quick run through, and you've got 4 others. I'm thinking Christmas presents might be good here.
I think they make great Christmas presents.
I think that would be great,
especially for the person that loves the beach.
Oh yeah, if you're a beach lover, this is a great way to go. Jill, thank you so very much
for being
with us.
Thank you for having me. Yes.
And I look forward to having you on again as your career goes. We'll talk about some of the other stuff, because I know you're not stopping writing at this point.
No, not yet.
Got anything else in the works?
I have one book in the works now. The title I'm not sure about yet. It's a sensitive subject, so I'm going to
just let it slide.
Just let it go for now
until it's finished.
Until it's ready.
Well, when it's ready, please get in touch with us. We want to talk about it.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Jill Hicks, a local author, and her book, Bay Avenue, The Inheritance, is her first book. But as you heard, there's a bunch more. So check them out. Browseabout Books.
Biblion Books in Lewis and Bethany Beach Bookstore.
Excellent. Jill, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
92.7 WGMD. I'm Bob Steele, the 5 times over caffeinated radio show.